Hello, guys. So, how are you? I am just a human being from a corner of the world, starting to study the Prescott's microbiology book. Our teachers told us to study them, right? This book, I think this book contains almost everything basic about microbiology. So, and I didn't had the interest nor had the time. Well, actually, if I wanted to manage the time, I could, but I didn't want to read this book. This is so lengthy, above 700 pages. So I thought, why not study with the people that actually study microbiology and maybe make it interesting. So those who wants to read the book on microbiology, I think this book is good since it's recommended by the teachers, those taught me, the one that actually taught me. So I'll be starting it, and if you get bored, tell me since I am no entertainer in any way. So I'll be just reading and including bits of knowledge that I know. So I actually came to this page right away. I can't read the authors or that kind of things. You should read it by yourself, or maybe when actually we end this book, we can go and read the scientists. So, well, before going further, we can just read the title, the chapter name, and that is the history and scope of microbiology. History and scope. Well, everything starts with a history, right? And this scientist is actually the coming in under the founders of microbiology. He did a lot of work, and we are going to study his works in below. He stated that science knows no country because knowledge belongs to humanity and is a torch which illuminates the world. Well, I think he just means that knowledge can come from anywhere. Knowledge is greater wherever it comes from, and it is belongs to humanity. Well, if we see around the world, only humans are capable of sharing the information or learning new things from before and actually cultivating that knowledge to go further and further. I think this is the gift that is given to only humans, and we should use it to the best of our extent. And today we'll be starting to use use our abilities as humans to study the information, gather knowledge, and spread it. So, are we ready? Should we start? Yes. We don't need to wait any further. The importance of microorganisms can't be overemphasized. Means they are actually pretty important. Even if we overestimate them, we can never overestimate them. Means they are that much important. In terms of sheer numbers and mass, it is estimated that microbes contain 50% of the biological carbon and 90% of the biological nitrogen. I think you guys that are fresh will know the exact percentage of the carbon and the nitrogen that is in the environment. I to the remember it is that 21% was the oxygen and 73% was the nitrogen. By the way, remember, okay, I didn't study this book before, neither have I researched on it, so my information is completely raw. Means I can't even use the Google, okay? So if I say something wrong, you can correct me with pleasure. They greatly exceed every other group of organisms on the planet. Well, we know multiple kinds of organisms, and we don't know these kinds of organisms, and they are exceeding the number of organisms combined. Furthermore, they are found everywhere, from the geothermal vents in the ocean depths to the coldest Arctic ice to every person's skin. Means they can start from extreme position and end it on the extreme position. Oh, sorry, not positions, the environments. Geothermal vents. I think they just means that the center of our Earth, maybe, since it's the hottest place on the Earth. And I think microorganisms can be found even in that place, and even in the ocean depths. You guys know, right, that the ocean have a lot of pressure in the depth of it, and to the coldest Arctic ice to every person's skins. Guys, did you know that your body is covered with the microorganisms, and not just your body outside, it's your body inside as well. They are the major contributors to the functioning of biosphere, being indispensable for cycling of the elements essential for life. Guys, do you know biosphere means? Well, I think I am not going to belittle anyone, since I usually don't know small things. Well, these aren't small. Biosphere is actually the whole area where the living organisms live, and this includes the whole Earth. Okay? The whole Earth, wherever the living things can be found, is considered under comes under the biosphere. Indispensable means that it is necessary. It is, can't be replaced, since they actually recycle things for us, which other organisms cannot. I can give you just a small example of that, and it is the nitrogen. Do you guys know that the gaseous nitrogen can't be used by any other organisms other than microorganisms? So the nitrogen that is present in our body, actually in our DNA, where does it actually come from? Well, it actually comes from the environment, but it is with the help of microorganisms, especially bacteria. They convert it into ammonia and then nitrates. I'm just giving the information, no need to try to memorize it. They also are a source of nutrients at the base of all ecological food chains and webs. Well, they are the smallest creatures, and they start from single cell, means their complexity is very low. So they start from the base of the food chains, or you can say that they are the base because they actually start creating food or start giving things to the other organisms, since we know how the food chains work. They eat over one another. Most importantly, certain microorganisms carry out photosynthesis, rivaling plants in their role of capturing carbon dioxide and release oxygen in the atmosphere. Well, they are right, guys. I'll tell you the story. There is a photosynthetic bacteria called as cyanobacteria, and it is also called as blue-green algae. It was the microorganisms which lived and harbored the earth in the hellish conditions where there were no oxygen. They were the only microorganisms, or you can say only organisms, that were living in this earth. Not this earth, the past earth. And they created that 21% of oxygen when there was no plant to help. So just think of their, you know, bigness, greatness. They helped us. These microbes that inhabit humans also play important role, including helping the body digest food and producing vitamin B and K. Well, I don't know about vitamin B, but I have studied that a bacteria known as E. coli or Escherichia coli produce K, and this bacteria is present in our intestine. In addition, society in general benefits from microorganisms. Wait. Uh-oh. They are necessary for the production of bread, cheese, beer, antibiotics, vaccines, vitamins, enzymes, and many other important products. So let's start with this. This is the bread, cheese, beer, antibiotics. Well, these comes under the food. The antibiotics and vaccines comes under the what do you call it, clinical or medical sides. Vitamins, enzymes, and these are accessory, the micromolecules. Indeed, modern biotechnology rests upon a microbiological foundation. Although the majority of microorganisms play beneficial or benign roles, some harm humans and have disrupted the society over millennia. Well, that's correct. We don't have to just see the positive side of the microorganisms. They cause destruction, and I think they will tell us what kind of destruction. Well, especially you heard the plague. Well, I think it will be coming down. Microbial disease undoubtedly played a major role in historical events such as the decline of Roman Empire and the conquest of New World. To be honest, I'll be honest, I am not, knowledgeable about the history or studies. So I don't know what Roman Empire basically is, or what the New World, or whatever these kind of things are. So whatever, microbial diseases played historical role in the decline of Roman Empire and conquest of New World. In 1347, plague or Black Death, an arthropod-borne disease, struck Europe with a brutal force, killing 1/3 of the population, about 25 million people within 4 years. 1/3 of the population. Are they joking? 1/3 of the population? It's basically about one part from the whatever. It's an arthropod-borne disease. I think you guys would know what arthropod means, right? The one that has the organism, the category of organisms that has appendaged legs, and for example, spider. So they harbor the microorganisms, they grow in their bodies, and then they transfer it to the humans, and from human they again are sucked by these or transferred to these arthropods, and that bites another human. Well, not the spider example is not very, mm, what explanatory, so I think we should turn it to the mosquito one. In malaria, mosquito bites and then transfer it to another human. Over the next 80 years, the disease struck again and again, eventually wiping out 75% of the European population. What? Is one third not enough? That it came back and wiped out that 75% of them again? Well, basically they killed 25% before, and now came to kill the 75% again. Well, over the next 80 years, well, they suffered for 80 years? Well, Europe had it bad. The plague's effect was so great that some historians believed it changed the Europeans' culture and prepared the way for the Renaissance. Renaissance. As I told you, I don't know a thing about the history. Well, I have idea about it. Well, we will study it afterwards. Today, the struggle by microbiologists and others against killers like AIDS and malaria continues. Well, they are correct about malaria, but I think people suffering from AIDS are actually maybe they will be hopeless, since they have to die after 15 years, even after the elongation of drugs and things. In this introductory chapter, we introduce the microbiological world or microbial world to provide a general idea of organisms and agents that the microbiologists study. Then we describe the historical development of the science, microbiology, and its relationship to medicine and other areas of biology. Finally, we discuss the scope, relevance, and future of modern microbiology. Well, basically, it's saying that we will be studying history of microbiology, and then its relation to medicine. Like, why is it helpful to humans to study the microbiology? Humans see, you know, good, or um, what do you call it? Their benefit in anything. So of course they have to see. Now, what are the members of the microbial world? Microbiology often has been defined as the study of organisms and agents too small to be seen clearly by unaided eye. That is the study of microorganisms. Okay, they are so micro that we can't see it with our naked eyes, because objects less than about 1 millimeter in the diameter cannot be seen clearly and must be need examined with a microscope. See, I knew the sentence was coming. If we can't see it with our naked eyes, the microscope will have to come. The microbiology revolves around the microscope. Guys, I think you should know this fun fact that our eye cannot differentiate between two objects when it is, more than 1 millimeter apart. They see it as one. Microbiology is concerned. Oh my gosh. I don't know how to use anything. Wait. Why the heck would the ads come? Give me a second. Okay. Wait. What is this? Well, if we need to see the figure, we will come back to it. Wait, okay. I have hard time using this. Okay. Examined with a microscope. Microbiology is concerned primarily with the organisms and agents this small and smaller. It's just, amplifying the importance of the microorganisms. Since who else will study these small and smaller microorganisms if not the microbiologist? However, some microorganisms, particularly some eukaryotic microbes, are visible without microscope. I think the best example is the mushrooms. Do you guys believe that mushrooms comes under the microbiology? Well, it is a fungi. For example, bread molds, filamentous algae, and studied by microbiologists, yet are visible to the naked eyes, and are the two bacteria, Margarita and Eulopiscum. Piscium. Piscium. Guys, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, you can correct me. Microbial diversity. Well, they are saying that they will explain these two microbes in the next chapter, in the third chapter. The difficulty in setting the boundaries of microbiology has led to the suggestion of other criteria for defining the field. For instance, an important characteristic of the microorganisms, even those that are large and multicellular, is that they are relatively simple in their construction, lacking highly differentiated cells and different tissues. So they are telling that they had difficulty teaming up or grouping the microorganisms that should come under the microbiology, and so they decided that we should include all the organisms that are micro, that we cannot see with our naked eyes, and the organisms that may be large and multicellular but are simple in their construction and lack highly differentiated cells and distinct tissues. In simple word, they need to be simple. Another suggestion made by Roger Steiner is that the field also be defined in terms of its techniques. Okay, so another scientist came, that was Roger Steiner, and he suggested that it should be a field which had techniques, which can be defined in terms of its technique. Microbiology usually first isolate a specific microorganisms from a population and then culture it. It's a common sense, because we cannot see microorganisms that are too small. So first we have to multiply them so we can see it easily. Thus, microbiology employs techniques such as sterilization. Sterilization means the complete removal of the microorganism. The complete, okay? Destroying it completely. There should be no microorganism, not a single one. Well, of course, yes, not a single one on the things that you sterilize. and use of culture media. And this culture media thing is the base of microbiology, since it has the all culture means to grow something, right? And media means material or a medium or material which has all the nutrients that are needed by a specific microorganisms that we are trying to grow, that are necessary for the successful isolation and growth of microorganisms. So basically they are saying we first need to sterilize it, so the thing that we are using doesn't have any microorganisms prior to use, and then we should pour the culture media, and then we will have the successful isolation and the growth of microorganisms. Microorganisms are diverse, and their classification has always been a challenge for the microbial taxonomist. I will tell you it straight. Microorganisms are actually very diverse and is very difficult to study, unlike the higher and complex organisms. They are complex, so that's why they have differences. These things are so simple, but they just have one or two things different from one another, and that causes the mind to go, mix, and it's difficult to classify. A diverse in their classification has always been a challenge for the microbial taxonomists. Believe me, it's not just a challenge for microbial taxonomists, it's a challenge for students to remember them and differentiate them. um what should we do, guys? I think my laptop battery is dying, and I think it should be good enough for day one. When I charge my laptop, I will be continuing it. And I think I will review my life so I can see if I am going too slow, or if something is wrong with the live or anything. And yeah, so bye. And I will be definitely continuing this book. So feel free to, follow it or subscribe it in the YouTube terms, so you can study with me. Okay, good day for you, and here it ends.